Welcome back to War Games on Toast, all of you lovely people. Today we are doing something a little bit different, a little bit spicy. Today we are doing a tabletop simulator where I take my Kruleboyz up against Body Slam's Tzeentch Zangor meme list. It's quite a fun list, it's quite a fun game. This is completely experimental. I don't know if this is going to work, but hopefully everything comes out nicely and you all have a good time. I've cut this video down from about 2 hours to about half an hour, so it should be fairly smooth and a pretty fun watch. Anyway, in the meantime, leave a comment, drop a like, hit subscribe, and let me know if you want to see more of this in the future and what you would like changed. Anyway, until then, on with the show. So for our lists, we have my Kruleboyz. I have a Gut Ripper boss with Wicked Sticker as my leader, 2 Gut Rippers with Wicked Stickers, a Stab God, Shank, a Brute boss with +1 attack, Hrothgorn Man Trapper, Quiv, and Bushwhacker. That is exactly 1000 points and should be a good time. For Tzeentch, he has a Zangor Enlightened with +1 attack, 2 Zangor with shield, 2 with dual weapons, 1 with Great Blade, and 2 Decuriarchs with +1 strength each. And this is our deployment map. We decided that this was pretty sweet because the game mode that we're playing is actually Lofty Sanctuary. The whole point of this is that we are going to be trying to claim the high ground. The player with the most high ground pieces gets 1 point at the end of the turn. We are counting the this bridge section as 2 separate pieces, and the bridge is not one of those scoring places. So there's 4 points to score here, and the person who scores the most gets a point at the end of the turn. So Body Slam's deploying his first little battle group here, his dagger. He's deploying 2 guys, 1 Zangor with shield and 1 with double weapons. He's planking them sort of to quickly take this first area and maybe pressure other areas later in the game. And then we go over to my side. I deploy Hrothgorn Man Trapper and his little band of buddies. It's Quiv and Shank. The idea here is to sort of like pressure this this large platform to my left and then plonk my chaff in and around the easiest place to climb up, so it makes it harder for people to pressure my point. I could have also went to the right there on that small platform, but I thought, I could maybe go there later on. I've got reinforcements coming in behind him, so I can maybe do that then, and I think taking this upper area first is more impactful. Of course, he has other ideas and plonks down his shield next, and these guys are going quite aggressively on this point, taking one objective right from deployment and then placing his Decuriarch and his Enlightened in positions that are very aggressive that can easily pressure. And right off the bat, I have already messed up because I've placed Quiv far too far forward, and as you may see shortly, this comes back and bites me in the arse when he just walks up there and just beats the living crap out of him. But lesson learnt there, I guess. Now, of course, Hrothgorn Man Trapper is a serious threat. This guy has 2 shots at strength 6 for 8 damage. He does not want to get in range, but sadly it doesn't look like he can place many of his units in good positions whilst also being out of range. So he's decided to give up on avoiding it and just taking a hit. I can't shoot them both, obviously, and I definitely can't kill them both in one turn. So pressuring Hrothgorn early with 2 strong units is probably the best thing to do here, especially when his army is so fast. And then onto my shield, I am placing my Gut Ripper, Bushwhacker and Gut Ripper boss in a position where I want to really pressure his dagger. I don't want to doubly reinforce the place Hrothgorn's going. I really want to sort of take points off him. And since my hammer comes on later on, they're going to pressure the opposite end of the battlefield. I think it's best for me to get in early and take that point and make sure that he can't do much. Bushwhacker's got a trap, he can maybe do some plays there. I think this is probably the best play I could do here. So on to initiative, we hit the roll dice button and I nab myself 3 doubles here, which is very effective for me. Of course I get my wild dice. He gets 2 doubles and 2 singles, which ensures he definitely has initiative, or is very likely he has initiative. I'm thinking here, getting a triple. Quiv allows me to fire off an extra shot with Hrothgorn. So getting a triple means I can get 3 shots off 4 possibly, with in the right circumstances. So I'm making a 4-4, not 5, to try and get that off. And my opponent is also making a triple, and this should be a fairly cool game. Now he has initiative still, so he goes off and starts to jiggle his Zango Enlightened. He wants to try and get through that gap. So he hops over the terrain there and then goes straight in for Quiv. This was a massive mistake. I underestimated how fast these guys are. 5 inches is quite substantial, and especially with 2 inches of range on his spear, he can absolutely get in there and also avoid me using Cunning Trap. Yeah, so he's locked in. He's going to attack my Quiv, and he rolls, and he absolutely butchers the poor lad. He is removed from the game, and that is a massive blow. Quiv's not necessarily a major piece, but he is very helpful to have when you have a shooting Hearthgorn. Hearthgorn could have stepped back and took some shots, but I think it's more important to stick to the plan, and the plan was to take this objective and then maybe secure initiative next turn with some sneaky shots. So he's going to burn Rush and get his fat ass up there and maybe fire off a sneaky shot. So that's his Rush being spent for that double 1. And he's going to fire at the Decuriarch, who hasn't activated. So hitting on 3s, I land 4 damage with a single hit, knocking him down to 18 wounds. His Zango activates next and makes his way to this platform. He's just trying to get into a... he's got a lot of movement, so he's just trying to find the best place to really be. So in the end, he decides to go for this far platform as opposed to the closer one, because if he takes it, it means it's harder for me to get there. This is a more difficult position for him to take, so taking it early with his Zango makes sense. He can always take it with the other one with his Decuriarch. So I may activate Shank, and Shank just makes a run for it and gets up here. Shank's got 4 inches of movement, so he can very easily move to that ledge and just climb up using the climb action. Unfortunately, the Decuriarch has other thoughts, and he uses his Dark Pact ability to fire off 5 shots, hitting on 3s, and does 5 damage to Shank, which he's alive and 1 in wound, before retreating to his little perch here to claim another high ground point. He's trying to find that perfect balancing point without falling off. So over at me, I am looking to pressure at this point now, and I think the Gut Ripper boss is the best unit who can do this. With 4 inches of movement, you can definitely get to that bridge and then climb up and then just toe poke that objective, but we're just making sure that is actually a legal move and that I'm not just a little bit far out. Yeah, I'm just in. So with that pre-measure done, we're going to pick up the Gut Ripper boss and we're going to plonk him on there and just take that point. Or at least contest it. This guy has 20 wounds and 5 toughness. He's quite tough, so he should be fine at holding off some lowly Zango. So the Zango with shield, he follows suit and moves up to contest this location. He does not want to give up any high ground, and yeah, with 5 inches of movement, he can very easily climb up there and then get swinging with his Tzeentch blades. Now, he only gets 2 attacks, but with Onslaught, he actually manages to hit 3 times, 1 being a crit, which is a whopping 6 damage, which is, I was not expecting that, but crit efficient being what it is. Wanting to sort of like restrict what you can do on this point, I'm moving Bushwhacker up behind the Gut Ripper boss, and then I'm going to burn his unique double called Lay Trap, which allows me to place a 2d6 damaging trap within 3 inches. This is to hopefully prevent him from doing any sneaky shenanigans and getting on this point. It limits what he can do and just limits his mobility as a whole. So we just found a token to plonk down. There isn't actually a bomb token at all in the game, so we just found a random treasure token, and that should be fine. Unable to get up there in a traditional way, he uses his double-bladed Tzeentch chap to just move up, and he's going to climb this tree and then just take a cheeky swing at the Gut Ripper boss, which is not what I was expecting, but if it works, it works. So with 3 attacks, he lands hitting a crit, which is another 5 damage, which is 11 damage on the Gripper boss so far, which is way too much for just 2 lowly Tzeentch dudes. So I decided to rush up this Gut Ripper and get within stabbing range of his Zango, maybe do some pressure, and of course get into range of Cunning Trap for later on, which is a thing I make great use of in later turns. So that's 2 attacks hitting on 4s, and we get a whole lot of nothing. Gut Rippers aren't fantastic, but what can you do? So moving on to battle round 2, we have a double, a triple, and a single. This means I am definitely going to try and get a sneaky quad out of this. With Quiv being dead, I don't have much use for triples, and Rampage on a quad basically gives me a lot of options for mobility and getting more attacks or shots off with Hrothgorn. So Body Slam deploys his guys. This is quite a difficult decision because he has 2 choices. He can either pressure Hrothgorn with his whole Hammer Warband, or he can move up and try and support the weakened Zango. Remember, it's 3 versus 2 on that far point, so having some more guys there should help him take it and then move on afterwards. So he's deciding what to do here, and ultimately he does decide to have the Decuriarch act as a lone operative to try and take on both Shank and Hrothgorn, whilst the Zango go help the other Zango. This actually plays into my hand quite nicely because I really want him to get clogged up in a prolonged battle over there in the far end, because I don't really care about that point. I've got 2 Gut Rippers down there, they're fairly tanky, they can just be wet noodles the entire game, and as long as Hrothgorn up there is uncontested, I am absolutely fine with that, and he can definitely take on a Decuriarch. Over here, this is where the big boys come in. So the big boys being the Brute Boss. This guy has +1 attack on his profile thanks to the blessings found in White Dwarf. And he is an absolute monster. He also has a Gut Ripper for support and a Stab Grot. These are basically here for Cunning Trap and to secure objectives. And yeah, this guy's going to walk in here and he's just going to wreck face the moment anybody stays within his range. With Rampage, he can definitely do that, but I don't have initiative, so of course the Decuriarch, he makes a runner because he just does not want to deal with a Brute Boss. Very few people want to deal with a Brute Boss, surprisingly enough. He targets Shank with a sneaky Dark Pact, and of course Shank gets completely obliterated, which is unfortunate. And then he uses this handy 3D movement tool to position his Decuriarch on that platform with his second action. This is pretty good for me because he's abandoned one of those points, which gives me a way to contest. It didn't have a choice here because the Brute Boss would absolutely murder that Decuriarch, and there's just nothing I could do about it. So I go to Hrothgorn and I fire at the second Decuriarch, the fresh one. So that's 2 shots for 4 damage. Remember, this guy's 4/8 at strength 6. He's a monster. The second shot lands for another 4 damage. That's 2 shots so far, and he's taken 8 damage. I then burn Rampage to try and get some more damage off. And the final shot lands for a whopping 8 damage. That's 16 damage just from range shots in that Decuriarch. So he is now on 6 HP and is functionally a wet noodle. Seeing how crit fishing worked so well last time, he goes back to crit fishing and starts to attack the Gut Ripper boss over here. And he deals a whole lot of nothing and takes 3 damage in return from counter. And then he goes for I do a fall check and I do not fall, which is very nice. Then he goes in for his second swing and I take another 5 damage, but he takes 2 damage in return. So I am down to 4 HP. So that's very quickly that those 20 wounds didn't go, started to vanish. He didn't fall, which is always nice. I decided to move Bushwhacker over here. This is to contest this objective and prevent anyone moving across that bridge. But he counters this immediately with his Zango Enlightened, who moves up and then does a sneaky climb to give a quick old stab at Bushwhacker. Now, Bushwhacker's quite tough with 8 wounds, but he only just survives that, so that's wrong. He actually dies. No, he dies there, which is very sad, but I then use this opportunity to take this objective with a Gut Ripper. So I decide to use Cunning Trap. His guy is once again climbing this tree, trying to finish off that Gut Ripper boss. But because of Cunning Trap, I get to attack back 3 times at strength 4. And I do a fairly substantial amount of damage here. I land this for 6 damage. So he climbs up, takes 6 damage, goes in for the swing, hitting on 5s. Now I only have 4 HP left, so this could kill my chap, but luck was on my side this time, and I only take 1 damage. I'm down to 3. That boss is barely holding on, but that Cunning Trap did a substantial chunk of damage there, which is quite nice. Does he fall off? No, he's holding on. He's a sturdy chap. He does not want to fall off that point. He wants to hold that for as long as possible. So I'm going to activate my Brute Boss now. I want to get this guy up as far as possible. He won't be able to attack this turn because I use Rampage elsewhere, but I can use Charge to move towards the Zango, and then next turn maybe climb up there and get some smacks off. The Brute Boss is very deadly. He can absolutely get there, and once he starts attacking, everything dies, so he should be fine. The Zango here fall into my sneaky trap and run straight into the Gut Ripper, which ties up another Zango off the point, not doing anything, whilst not preventing me from using things like Cunning Trap. So the Zaguriak moves up next, and he climbs up there. He wants to pressure this point, and of course with Bushwhacker dead, I don't have control of this point anymore if he moves up here, which is quite sad, but thankfully he can't get up there and attack, so Hearthstone is fairly safe. And then we move up the Stab God here. The Stab God is purely here for Cunning Trap and objective purposes, so if he's close to the Brute Boss, it means that if he tries to move and be a bit tricky, the Brute Boss can get a free clobber off, and nobody wants to get a free clobber from a Brute Boss. And the final Zango moves up, and once again he gets locked into my Gut Ripper, which ties him up something rotten. And I am all for this. Gut Rippers are very tough, and you know he's going to hold them the rest of the game ideally, and he is not on those points, and I am absolutely fine with that. He considers moving that Zango off that point, but chooses to stay there because it's stopping me getting to his Zaguriak. And then we move on to turn 3. No one scored that round. Everyone was equal in terms of positions held. So I got a double, 2 doubles and 2 singles, and he got the same 2 doubles and 2 singles. So we need to roll off to see who actually has initiative. And I rolled a 2 to his 2, which is not great, so that's a tie, and we roll again. And I roll a 4 to his, I believe it was a 3. So I have initiative, and I decide to make another single because I really want initiative. And he makes a triple. Now, I have a opportunity here with Hrothgorn to kill his Zaguriak in close combat. So I swing, I crit for 4 damage, which is very nice. He has 2 HP left. But does he fall off? Being on that ledge, he could actually fall off here. And he does. So he falls off the ledge, which gives Hrothgorn a bit more freedom to do things here. He doesn't take any fall damage, which is unfortunate, so I just decided to fire off a quick bolt into his head. A single hit here will kill him, hitting on 3s. And bam. That is the Zaguriak well and truly dead. He's been skewered by the Mind Trapper. And then I burn a double on the Ogre ability to fire, to basically attack again after he's got a kill, and he's going to fire off at this Zango Enlightened to try and do a bit of damage here. So 2 shots, hitting on 3s, and we do 8 damage with a crit, which is huge. So that Zango Enlightened is really hurt. He's down to about 16 wounds, I believe, but he moves up, and he gets to attack. Burning a triple and getting 5-7 damage, he strikes Hrothgorn for a whopping 15 damage. I then activate my Gut Ripper boss, who's not long for this world, and I attack his shielded Zango. He uses counter, so I could actually die here. I take 1 damage, but deal 4 back. So I'm alive on, I think, 2 HP. And then I attack again, knowing I'm about to die. But I don't die, I do another 6 damage, and I'm reduced to 1 HP. So I'm alive, only barely. And manage to finish off that Zango. The Decuriarch, seeing a chance to snipe the Gut Ripper boss, moves up and uses Dark Pact. He's took a bit of finagling, but he definitely got in range there. And he rolled, and he misses. He only had 1 dice to try, and he failed. Then he moves back up to his point just to secure that perch. The Brute boss activates next, and he just climbs up, and he's going to clobber. He's just going to clobber that poor guy using charge to get the move up there. He's going to clobber that Zango and hopefully kill him in a single attack, but we'll see what happens here. I get 4 attacks, strength 6, 3, 6 damage. And that guy has 15 wounds. So, what do I get? Not enough to kill. That is 9 damage there. And some of the dice went a bit funky. That was 9 damage. And then we kill him with 18 damage on the second swing, which finishes off that chap. Once again, we are looking at some cunning traps. He moves up that tree to attack, try and finish off my chap. So the boss gets a cunning trap proc to attack the climbing dude and strikes for another 4 damage. So cunning trap really doing work here. The Kruleboyz boss has been substantially injured and is now very much dead, but he's done work. He should have survived a bit longer, but with cunning trap procs and some decent rolls, he has managed to do a fair chunk of work and get some kills and deal some nice chunky damage. That's him being removed from the board. And then I swing with my Gut Ripper with his final action to try and do a bit of chip damage to this nearby Great Bladed Zango. And we do. We hit him for 2 damage, which ain't too bad. This Zango disengages. He has some tricks up his sleeve. So he disengages here and then climbs up the side of this wall to avoid Bushwhacker's trap, which is very clever. Spoiler, Bushwhacker's trap doesn't do anything this game. It just exists there. But it does make it a bit more awkward for him to move. The Stabgrot does a similar tactic. He moves onto this platform and stays, I believe, 1.1 inches away from the Decuriarch, so he can't just double attack and kill him. It forces him to move and burn actions. So the the Zango attacks my Decuriarch and does 5 damage on a crit, which is not nice. Was not a fan of taking that much damage, but it happens. These Zango have been very crit happy, and sometimes that's how the dice work, but my guys are holding on. We're doing okay. We've lost only chaff in a boss, and from turn 4 we're in very good positions to get some seriously high value kills off and possibly spin the game in our favour. It really does require round 4 really requires me to get 1 point. I can't win. It is definitely going to be a tie situation because only 1 point is scoreable, but we'll see. And things went very well. I got a natural quad 6, which is fantastic for mobility. It's fantastic for killing, and yeah, it's definitely a thing I'm going to be using. Now, the Decuriarch is activating first, and I don't necessarily agree with this activation. I think there was more valuable things he could have done here. He goes in and attacks a Stabgrot, which is actually exactly what I want. If the Stabgrot dies, the Brute Boss has free roam to climb up there and just beat the crap out of him. But he kills him. He also burns a triple here to heal 5 HP to try and keep that Decuriarch alive. But with only, I think, 15 HP, the Decuriarch is not likely to survive a onslaught from this guy. So that's 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 3, 6 damage. The first round of attacks, yeah, they come in and smack him for 12. I use charge to get up there, so I've got another attack action which should finish him off quite nicely. One attack landing should kill him. And we get that. We do another 6 damage, which kills that Kyriak and secures that point for me. Yeah, but not for long though, because this Zango up here uses Rush and then uses his 12-inch movement to jump halfway across the bloody battlefield and land on that objective and contesting it, which is not great for me. And this puts a lot more pressure on the rest of my warband to try and secure that one last location. So the 3D movement tool is very useful for this because it allows us to get the exact measurement, and he's just trying to position it so he can just move there without any issues at all. And with a quick hit of a swap, he should just move over there. Unfortunately, I can't do anything about this. I don't have the forces to kill that Zango, which is very unfortunate. But I do have a potential to burn a quad here on Hrothgorn and then just punch this Zango and Lighten to death with 3 attacks, strength 4, I believe 3/6 damage. Great start here. We land, I think that is a total of 10 damage. It's 2/4 damage, sorry. 10 damage. And that's the final hit. He only had 12 HP, I believe. No, it's 16, so that's, yeah, okay. Final hit, and then the crit finishes him off. So we only just killed him, and that's that point hopefully locked down now. He doesn't have the models to effectively contest Hrothgorn, take my point, and take points of his own, and I have a model left over. He goes over there to contest Hrothgorn, which makes sense. But again, that Gut Ripper back on the far end there, he's holding that, and then this Gut Ripper comes up here, stands on me on trap, which won't trigger it, and he just chills there, taking that point, which of course forces the final Zango to move up there and contest my Gut Ripper. But because my Gut Ripper in the bottom there is by himself, that does score me 1 point. In a sea of contentions, that one Gut Ripper scores a point, and that gives me the final point for a tie, which is very, very nice. And as you can see by this poorly conceived graphic here, we have the bottom left, and top right all contested with Zango, bosses, Hrothgorns and Rippers, and that bottom right objective there is held by the Kruleboyz, which gives me more points held for me, which gives me a whole single point, tying this game out at 1-1. This was a fantastic game by Body Slam. I had a lot of fun here. His list was very fun. It was very memey. He played very, very well. And frankly, I was running quite a competitive list that got pretty slammed in the early game. I did not pilot this list very well, but it was a lot of fun. And yeah, I think a 1-1 draw is definitely the best I could have hoped after deploying that badly in the early game. But yep, that's the end of the video, guys. Thanks for watching. And if you want more content like this, let us know how I can improve. This is new to me. I've never done live narration before on a battle report that I've made. This is my first battle report in general, so if you want to see more of them, let me know and I'll be sure to make more. Until then, I'll catch you next time. Ta-ra.